The Wheel of Fate to determine what is going to happen, and I'm very excited to see Darren. We've got a Fusion user going up against a SolidWorks user, our number 7 seed going up against the current reigning world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling. So I think these are going to be some really good matches. We've got a lot of really good challenges for these runners, but it's going to be up to the Wheel of Fate to decide this. So shout out to our sponsor Plasticity for the sponsoring the wheel, and if anybody's out there and wants to try to guess what the wheel has in store for these runners, feel free to put that in the chat. You can prove your clairvoyance, and we're going to give this thing a shuffle, and we're going to give this thing a spin. And like I said, I just want to give a quick shout out to Plasticity sponsoring the Wheel of Fate. Here we go. Let's give this thing a spin. Let's see what challenge is in store for our runners. Okay. Challenge number 11. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We're going to remove that one from the list. So here we go, Chris. This next CAD vs. CAD battle featuring Darren from the UK, our number 7 seed running Fusion, going up against Ricardo Jean from Brazil. He's a 2-time tournament winner. He's a world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling, and he's going to be running SolidWorks. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1. Go! What is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly? In x.xx pounds. The tolerance is plus or minus 0.01 pounds. We can see that this model is made in inches, and we can see that this is a snow shovel handle. Both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture of this model. Both of our runners are jumping into their CAD systems, trying to come up with a game plan and trying to model this thing up. It's made from ABS and plain carbon steel. And let's take a look over at the CAD vs. CAD battle. Here we go. We've got Darren on the left running Fusion. We've got Ricardo Jean on the right running SolidWorks. And both of our runners are trying to come up with a game plan. It's kind of a tricky part. You've got this tube. There's lots of different tools in 3D CAD to create tubes, to create bent tubes. And so it looks like both of our runners have decided to start with the tube. You know, whenever we are working in 3D CAD, Chris, we will look at a model and we tend to kind of discretize the model into different areas. And in the case of this model, you probably obviously say one area is a handle and one area is the tube. I always find it interesting to see where our runners put the origin and which area of the model our runners begin with. And in the case of this model, they could have started with the handle, they could have started with the tube, and they both decided to start with the tube. Very, very interesting.
I started my stopwatch because this is one of those models that I predicted could be under 3 minutes.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I did, because I've seen Ricardo model things like this before real fast, but I'm very curious how, to your point, where they're going to start. Are they going to, it's a multi-body, it could be a multi-body part, but some people would say, no, that's an assembly, right? So there's some logistical challenges right away. Like, are you going to have the origin at the very tip of the shovel? It's just
exactly.
And if you think about that too long, you lose. It's over.
Yeah, it's something that you really need to get in the habit of looking at a model and kind of deciding where's the origin going to be, and and why you choose where the origin is. It's something I talk about a lot in my tutorials. If you guys want to learn more about this, just go through the library at tootalltoby.com or watch the YouTube videos, and you'll see that in almost every one of my tutorials, I say, first thing we're going to do is decide on the origin, and here's why. It's because all the dimensions come together, or because the part has symmetry, or because it looks like if the customer changes something, they probably won't change this location, so that's a good spot for the origin. It's different for each model, but it's one of those things where the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it, and the more it's going to become second nature. And so we see here our runners going through and trying to come up with a solution here. We see Darren going through. It looks like he's working on kind of the sweep geometry for that handle. And by the way, Chris, I know you mentioned you started a stopwatch. That's actually going to be a thing of the past with the modern technology of the Too Tall Toby CAD vs. CAD tournaments. We actually have a clock overlay right on the live stream. So we're currently at 3 minutes for this model. 3 minutes so far.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm surprised what I'm seeing, actually. So, I can see there's like a way to model this for the tournament to get the answer quickly, but they could bite you in the butt later, right? So
I mean, hopefully this is a topic we've had come up quite a bit, and hopefully, we're teaching people how to do both. Like, we want you to be fast, but we also making a fast model that's not stable is not really good. It's like if you're using the scale, the analogy of playing scales in music, it's like it's not really good if you can play a scale really fast, but every note is like a bad fret. That doesn't really help anybody. You want to kind of think of CAD the same way. And so recently I've been making videos where I'm trying to show that you can have both. You can speed model and make robust models. You can do both. And that's really the true path to mastery, right? If an electrician comes over to your house, a master electrician comes over to your house, they're going to be able to install a whole new circuit a lot faster than you, but that doesn't mean that they're cutting corners. It doesn't mean they're speed running the installation. It just means they've learned how to master their trade. They know how to use all the steps, and they know how to get out of a problem quickly if they get into one. And that's what we see a lot of in this tournament too. We see people making mistakes and having to backtrack, and sometimes that's what makes the difference between earning a point or losing and getting knocked out.
Yeah, one thing I could say is that the level of play in competition now is pretty high, because this is the kind of part that in the first season, or a few years ago, it's been 4 years, hasn't it already? Mm-hmm. At least where we were seeing really competitive people, but this would have taken a while in the old days, I think. So we're at a point where these fairly complex models are they're still being done under 5 minutes. It's pretty remarkable. It's
interesting. It's cool to see Ricardo Jean kind of struggling here. Really, both of our runners kind of struggling here. This is where I think we can really learn the most from watching these CAD battles and especially reviewing the videos afterwards. Seeing what a professional like Ricardo does when he does get stuck, when he does start getting errors in the tree. What tools does he use? I saw him use the rollback bar there. I saw him reading the error messages that were in the tree. It's really interesting to see how these professionals troubleshoot when things go wrong.
Yeah. One of the challenges with this model is that it's also long enough that you have to zoom in and out to understand where you are at all times. You just kind of reframe it and take a second to make sure you're on track. Are you actually modeling this correctly? And so that's a challenge. I keep wondering if the future of CAD will make like zooming and just viewing your model a lot easier. I do hope for a day where like VR goggles and all that augmented reality stuff makes it a little quicker to interact with the model. Because there are some, you start to realize the limitations of working with a 2D screen when you're watching people model something like that's this long and swoopy, and you kind of need to see it in 3D.
Yeah, I mean, the benefits are definitely there for incorporating some of that technology into CAD, and we've seen some innovation along the way, but I think that, if anything, that's where probably AI will really start to shine, is just making that less herky-jerky. I think that's kind of what the main concern is right now. When you go under a set of goggles, things get to be like real, you get motion sickness, or you get like, it gets real herky-jerky. And I think that's where we're really going to see AI shine, is going to be in kind of smoothing out some of those interactions. But it looks like, speaking of smoothing things out, it looks like Ricardo Jean is back on track now. He struggled there for a little bit, getting that sleeve in place and getting that pipe and figuring out where that pipe was going to end. But it looks like he's at least moving through the features a little smoother. You can always tell when you're watching a fellow CAD jockey. You can always tell when things are going smooth versus things going a little bit sideways, a little bit off the rails. And it looks like he's now feeling a little bit more confident. Things are going a little smoother. He's kind of, cruising through the features without getting errors. And so, meanwhile, we see on the left, we've got Darren going through, and once again, just like we saw in the last competition, he's at a very similar spot here where he's creating that kind of rounded, almost like a horseshoe shape for that handle. So we now see Ricardo merging that transition into that handle. Looks like he is maybe did a combine there. Okay, I think that probably the reason he needed to do that combine was because he needed to have that common edge to do that fillet that he just applied. So again, you can see it's kind of night and day from where he was about 4 minutes ago. He was just kind of really struggling to get any features on screen, and now it looks like things are moving forward a little smoother now. So we may end up seeing an answer here. We're going to keep an eye on the chat. We're going to keep an eye on our answer key here, and it looks like Ricardo has come in with an answer, and his answer looks like he's coming in with an answer here of 6. What are we seeing here? 6.61 pounds. That is not correct. That is not correct. So we're looking for this answer in x.xx pounds, and Ricardo coming in with an answer here, 6.61 pounds. That is not correct. So Ricardo now needing to go through to examine his models to try to figure out what exactly went wrong, where maybe things were off. He's going to look at the drawing. He's going to look at his model. He's going to see if he can't see anything that looks mismatched between the two. Oh, and Darren, interesting. Darren opting to create the handle and the I guess you'd call it the tube, the handle and the tube in two separate features. So very interesting. And watching Ricardo here, Ricardo was modeling it up. Ricardo deciding to put the handle on a 90-degree angle, maybe coming up with a new design there for the shovel design. Very interesting as well. But I love this. This is where things get kind of interesting. You know, maybe Ricardo just decided once he got to the point of creating that handle that his orientation was wrong. Of course, in the real world, you could always just take that body and rotate it 90 degrees, but for the challenge that we're doing here, we're only looking for the mass. So some models, it's really important you design them together. For example, that last model with the space heater, that was one that was really important to design together.
Toby, I think we have another mass. There's another mass entry here.
Okay, great. And so we're seeing the answer come in here, and it looks like the answer is coming in 2.93 pounds. And that is correct. So congratulations to Ricardo Jean. Well done, my friend. Congratulations. And wow. Very nice and very, very nice. Wow. Well done. Wow, a good match. Could have gone either way.
I think that other shelf, Ricardo's design is actually probably more ergonomic for a shovel.
Maybe. Yeah, holding it like that.
I think you're onto something, Ricardo.
Yeah, maybe. Holding it with your fists kind of facing forward maybe is the way to go. But wow, guys, what a matchup and what a win.